Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go!
I want to tell you about my life. It hasn't been easy. I grew up with my mom and stepbrother, who's 14 years older than me. When I was young, he started hurting me. As I got older, it got worse and turned into sexual abuse. It was awful. When I was 16, after the worst thing happened, my half-brother from my dad's side took me in. He became my protector. I'll call him my guardian in this story. Recently, I found out my mom had been stealing money from a trust fund my dad set up for me. She used fake receipts to take money out. She also claimed me on her taxes, even though I've been doing my own taxes for years. Things got even crazier. My stepbrother, the one who hurt me, is in jail now. He kidnapped his cousin's 2-year-old baby girl. And my mom, she keeps bugging me to pay his bail. One day, I was getting ready for work at the hotel where I was staying. Someone started banging on my door. I thought it was housekeeping, but it was my mom. She looked really angry. She started yelling at me, calling me ungrateful and demanding I pay for my stepbrother's bail. She said I was letting him rot in jail. When I tried to defend myself and remind her what he did to me, she got violent. She slapped and scratched me. Luckily, a housekeeper saw what was happening and called security. They stopped my mom and called the police. But the police only gave her a warning and let her go. They treated it like a small family fight, even though I was hurt. I've been trying to get restraining orders against both my stepbrother and my mom. The one against my stepbrother will probably happen, but no one seems to think my mom is dangerous to me. Not the cops, not the lawyers. No one. Because of all this drama, I had to leave my home. My guardian and his wife said I could stay with them, but I didn't want to put their family in danger. They have 2 young boys, and I didn't want to bring all this craziness into their lives. So I decided to stay at a hotel for a while until I could find a cheap apartment. But my mom found out where I was staying at the first hotel. That's why I had to move to a new one. The receptionist at the first hotel gave her my room number because my mom lied and said I was suicidal. Can you believe that? My guardian tried to convince me to stay with them. He said they could handle the situation together. I thanked him but said I wanted to stay away to protect his family. He offered to help me find a safe place, but I told him I was okay for now and promised to keep him updated. Work has been really helpful during all of this. My boss has been super supportive. After she heard about what happened at the hotel, she even offered me a place to stay. It's a rental property she owns. Some college students live there now, but she said I could have it when the semester ends. My boss couldn't believe what was happening to me. When I didn't know how to thank her, she told me to just accept her help. She also said I should start carpooling with a coworker named John to be safer. Even with all this support, the legal system hasn't been much help. When I tried to report my mom's attack, the cops didn't take it seriously. They called it a family problem because she's old. They even suggested we try family therapy. When I pointed out that I had been physically attacked and had injuries to prove it, the officer still said my elderly mom wasn't really dangerous. My lawyer is a bit more hopeful, but it's still going slowly. He told me to keep writing down everything that happens. He says we're building a strong case. When I told him how frustrated and tired I was, he said he understood but told me to hang in there. He says we're making progress, even if it doesn't feel like it. On top of everything else, my mom has been telling lies about me on social media. She's saying that I attacked her when she came to check on me and making up a story about my guardian kicking me out. And now my dad's family and my mom's family are fighting online. I've tried to fight back by posting pictures of my injuries and telling my side of the story, but it's exhausting. Every day feels like a fight, and I'm running out of energy. All of this has made it hard to focus on work, even though my boss is so supportive. I miss my old life, my peace, and my own bed. I miss being able to visit my guardian and his family without worrying about putting them in danger. My guardian calls me every day to check on me. He asks how I'm doing and offers to help. I usually say I'm okay but tired. He tells me he wishes I would accept more help and reminds me I'm always welcome at their house. I thank him for his support but say that Staying away is the best way to keep everyone safe. Before we hang up, he makes me promise to call if I need anything, anytime. I'm not giving up. My lawyer says we're building a strong case against my stepbrother and for the tax fraud my mother did. For now, I'm just taking it one day at a time. I'm thankful for the people who support me, my guardian, my boss, my co-workers. They remind me that not everyone in the world is as messed up as my mother and stepbrother. My life used to be pretty normal. I'm a single mom working from home as a graphic designer. It's not easy, but I manage. My little one, just 8 months old, is a light of my life. Things were going okay until about 3 months ago when I desperately needed someone to watch my baby. My regular sitter had quit unexpectedly, and I had a huge project due. That's when my neighbor offered to help. She seemed nice enough at first, a bit older, maybe in her 50s, always cooing over my baby whenever she saw us. I was relieved when she volunteered to babysit. She expressed her enthusiasm to watch my baby, mentioning that she had raised 4 children of her own and missed having a baby around. For the first few weeks, everything was fine. She'd watch my baby while I worked and I'd pick them up in the evening, but then things started getting weird. It began with little comments about my parenting. My neighbor advised against using synthetic fabrics for the baby, claiming they weren't good for sensitive skin. When I mentioned that the pediatrician said the clothes were fine, she dismissed modern doctors, insisting that in her day they only used 100% cotton. I brushed it off at first. After all, everyone has opinions about parenting, right? But it didn't stop there. She started criticizing everything. The baby food I bought, the toys I used, even the way I held my own child. One day I came to pick up my baby, and she had completely changed their outfit. When I questioned her about it, she explained that she couldn't bear to see the baby in the polyester clothes I had sent. She had found some of her grandchildren's old things, suggesting they were much better. I asked her not to change my baby's clothes without asking me first, to which she responded that someone had to look out for the child's best interests. That should have been my cue to find a new sitter, but I was swamped with work and good childcare is hard to find. I figured I could handle a few more weeks until my project was done. Big mistake. The following Monday, I dropped off my baby as usual. But when I came to pick them up that evening, my neighbor refused to open the door. When I announced my presence, she replied through the door that she couldn't let me take the child. Confused and alarmed, I demanded she open the door. She explained that she believed it was for the best, expressing concern about my parenting skills and declaring that she didn't think I was fit to be a parent. Shocked, I threatened to call the police. She encouraged me to do so, claiming she had papers showing she was now the legal guardian. I was in shock. Was this really happening? I called the police immediately, my hands shaking as I dialed. When the officers arrived, my neighbor actually had the audacity to present them with some official-looking documents. The officer questioned where she had obtained these papers. She insisted they were completely legal, drawn up by a lawyer, and that the child now belonged to her. I protested, saying I had never signed anything. The officer reassured me they would get to the bottom of this. He then addressed my neighbor, noting that the documents looked suspicious and requesting that she open the door and hand over the child while they sorted things out. My neighbor adamantly refused, now claiming she had squatter's rights because the baby had been living there, making the child legally hers. The officer refuted her claim, explaining that's not how squatters' rights work at all. It was like talking to a brick wall. She refused to budge, insisting that she was now my baby's rightful parent. The officers tried reasoning with her, but it was useless. She was completely delusional. As the standoff continued, more police arrived. I was beside myself, imagining all the horrible things that could be happening to my baby. What if she tried to run? What if she hurt them? After hours of failed negotiations, they called in a SWAT team. It felt like I was trapped in some kind of twisted movie. The SWAT leader gave my neighbor one last chance to open the door and hand over the child peacefully. She vehemently refused, declaring they would have to kill her first, and insisting that the baby needed her. I pleaded for my baby's return, to which she responded by claiming I didn't deserve the child because I let them wear polyester. It was surreal. Here we were, surrounded by armed officers, and she was ranting about fabric choices. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they broke down the door. I heard a commotion inside, my neighbor screaming about her rights, and then an officer announced they had the baby and that they were safe. I burst into tears as they brought my little one out to me. I held them close, checking for any signs of harm. Thankfully, aside from being a bit scared and confused, my baby was okay. As they led my neighbor out in handcuffs, she was still raving. She continued to insist that she was the only one who truly loved the child, and that she would prove it in court. The officer advised her of her right to remain silent, strongly suggesting she use it. My neighbor was charged with kidnapping, forgery, and a host of other crimes. My baby and I moved as soon as we could. I installed a top-of-the-line security system in our new place and became a lot more cautious about who I let into our lives. Sometimes when I'm rocking my little one to sleep, I think about how close I came to losing them. It makes me hold them a little tighter, a little longer. And yes, sometimes they wear polyester pajamas. 'Cause you know what? They're comfy, and my baby likes them. And at the end of the day, that's what really matters. Let me tell you about the day I finally snapped at work. I've been working at this Canadian telecom company for about 5 years. We'd merged with a Western provider a while back, which meant more customers and, unfortunately, more entitled jerks to deal with. I started in customer service but quickly realized I had a knack for tech stuff, so I transferred to the repair center for the mobile division. It was a decent gig, but man, the customers could be brutal. Day in, day out, we get yelled at, insulted, and treated like dirt. Most of my co-workers were pushovers, always trying to placate these jerks. Not me. I developed a reputation for not taking crap from anyone. That day started like any other. I was in the back office trying to enjoy my lunch break when I heard the commotion. Some lady was going off on my co-worker, Sarah. I could hear her shrill voice from across the room. The customer, who I'll call Karen, was loudly demanding an upgrade immediately. She insisted she was a paying customer and should get what she wanted right away. Sarah tried to explain that the new software upgrade wouldn't be available for 2 more days and asked the customer to come back then. But Karen wouldn't listen. She rudely claimed that she spent so much money at the store that she practically paid our salaries. That was it. I'd had enough. I stormed out of the break room and into the service area. The customer, a middle-aged woman with a speak to the manager haircut, was leaning over the counter, practically spitting in Sarah's face. I interrupted, sarcastically telling the woman that if she really paid our salaries, she clearly wasn't spending enough because we weren't paid nearly enough to deal with this kind of abuse. The woman turned to face me, her mouth hanging open. I'm a pretty big guy, and when I'm angry, people tend to notice. I've been told I get this intense look in my eyes that freaks people out. Whatever it was, it shut her up for a second. Karen angrily objected to how I was speaking to her, insisting she was a valued customer. I firmly told her that valued customers don't abuse the staff, then asked if she still wanted the upgrade or not. She demanded that of course she wanted it. That's why she was there. I knew we didn't have the upgrade yet, but I had an idea. A nasty, probably illegal idea, but at that point, I was beyond caring. I warned her that the new upgrade was still glitchy and might erase everything on her phone. She accused me of trying to scare her, but I insisted I was just giving fair warning. If she still wanted to proceed, it would be her responsibility. She impatiently told me to just do it already. I took her phone and plugged it into our system. Of course, I couldn't actually do the upgrade, but she didn't need to know that. Instead, I started systematically deleting contacts and call history. I told her the upgrade was running and would take about 30 minutes, suggesting she go grab a coffee and come back. She agreed but warned that it better work. When she returned, I unplugged her phone and handed it back with a smile, telling her it was all done and hopefully everything worked out fine. She smugly said she knew it would be fine and insulted our competence. Then she snatched her phone and marched out of the store. I wondered how long it would take her to realize what I'd done. Part of me hoped she'd come back so I could see the look on her face. I never did find out if she got the real upgrade or if she noticed the missing contacts. But I like to think that somewhere out there, she learned her lesson about treating people with respect. And if she didn't, well, at least I got a good story out of it. My husband and I had been trying to have a baby for years. After multiple failed attempts and heartbreaks, we finally got lucky. I was over the moon when I found out I was pregnant. My best friend insisted on throwing me a baby shower, and I was touched by her gesture. The day of the shower arrived, and I was excited to celebrate with my friends and family. Little did I know that my cousin had other plans. As guests started arriving, I noticed my cousin acting strange. She kept whispering to people and giggling. I didn't think much of it at first, but then she made her grand announcement. My cousin suddenly proclaimed to everyone that she was pregnant too. I was shocked. This was supposed to be my special day, but I tried to be happy for her. I offered my congratulations, trying to hide my surprise. My cousin then suggested making the event a dual celebration, claiming it was perfect timing. Before I could respond, she started directing people around the room, rearranging decorations and changing the music. I attempted to express my uncertainty about this idea, reminding her that the party was planned for a specific purpose. However, my cousin dismissed my concerns, insisting it would be more enjoyable this way. I looked at my best friend, hoping she'd intervene, but she seemed just as confused as I was. Things quickly spiraled out of control from there. My cousin went to the door and locked it. People started looking worried. A guest inquired about the reason for locking the door. My cousin declared that no one would leave until they properly celebrated her pregnancy, emphasizing that it was a special moment for her. I tried to remind her that this was my baby shower and suggested planning something for her another time. She ignored me completely and started opening my gifts. My cousin began admiring the gifts, stating how perfect they would look on her baby. I was speechless. My friends tried to calm her down, but she wasn't having it. A friend suggested taking a break for cake, hoping to diffuse the situation. My cousin agreed, but then demanded a new cake in her favorite colors, asking if someone could go to the bakery. That was the last straw. I pulled my best friend aside and expressed the need to do something about the situation. My best friend assured me she had an idea and told me to follow her lead. My best friend pretended to get an urgent phone call claiming there was an emergency at work that required immediate attention. My cousin protested, insisting that the party wasn't over and that we couldn't leave yet. While my cousin was distracted, arguing with my best friend, another friend quietly unlocked the back door. We started ushering people out, assuring my cousin we'd be right back. My cousin questioned where everyone was going. I told her we'd just be a minute and suggested she stay and enjoy the cake. As soon as we got outside, we made a run for it. We ended up at a nearby park, all of us out of breath and in disbelief at what had just happened. A guest expressed their shock at my cousin's behavior and asked if I was okay. I expressed my relief that we had escaped and thanked everyone for coming, despite the unexpected turn of events. We decided to continue the celebration right there in the park. My friends ran to grab some snacks and drinks, and we had an impromptu picnic baby shower. It wasn't what I had imagined, but it turned out to be even better. My cousin was furious when she realized we had left. She bombarded my phone with angry messages, but I ignored them all. The next day, I received a half-hearted apology from her, claiming she got carried away with excitement. I decided to keep my distance from her after that incident. In the end, my friends and I had a good laugh about the whole ordeal. They even surprised me with a proper baby shower a few weeks later, complete with all the gifts my cousin had tried to claim as her own. It wasn't the smooth sailing celebration I had hoped for, but it certainly made for an unforgettable story. And hey, at least I learned who not to invite to future family gatherings.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.